My friends, how are we? Nice to be here with you guys. And look, yeah, I'm late. That's on me. But you can blame my banking app today. I was transferring money to somebody, and I was having a bit of an issue with the app. So that's the only reason I'm a little bit late. But here we are. We are live, and I hope you had a nice weekend. I missed you guys. Always feels like a strange day for me when I don't have a stream. So I was sitting there last night, 8:30, nearly going through withdrawal. That's how bad I was feeling yesterday without doing the stream. Colin, how are we? He said, hello, you sight for sore eyes. How's your weekend been so far? Finally home to spend Thanksgiving with the fam. Can't believe how well our players are doing on international break. Oh, we'll go through that, Colin. Don't you worry about that. We've got sofa score reviews of the players. We've got lots of stuff, mate, to go through tonight. So yeah, again, look, I do apologise. I don't like being late, but sometimes, I can't lie, sometimes I'm a shithouse and I just do it to let the chat build up. But today was not one of those days. Today it was just my banking app playing up, but I was trying to transfer money. So yeah, apology for that one. Why does Barco look incredibly Irish? I'm glad I'm not the only one. If you haven't seen this gentleman, he's, well, if you said that he's John Arne Riis's Irish / Argentinian's distant cousin, you wouldn't disagree. Valentin Barco is there's something going on. There's a lot of ginger over in Argentina. There really is. And I think there's a big Irish diaspora over there, if I'm not mistaken. Are we linked to the ginger kid? I mean, is that what he's been called already? Yeah, look, I'm going to go through and talk about the links to Valentin Barco. We're going to talk about links to Ansu Fati. We're going to have a look at how our boys are getting on over the international break and lots of other stuff as well. Lucho's dad getting backlash after the Barcelona comments. I will go through those as well. We covered it the other night, to be fair, and I've got even more quotes today to kind of give you an indication of what he was saying. But also on that, I've got some stuff for Liverpool, and Liverpool have flown Lucho's family over to Liverpool for Christmas to make sure that the family are all together and, you know, that they have a nice Christmas time, which is lovely of the club as well. So fair play to the club. Is João Neves too unrealistic? Honestly, Lukey, but I don't know. I'd seen Manchester United linked with him this week. I think Casemiro, if I'm not mistaken, has been suggesting João Neves to, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's Casemiro to Manchester United, but things aren't working out too well for Casemiro there, so perhaps that link will go away. I don't know. So, any truth about Sané coming in January? So, there's two transfers, and look, I guess this is a good point to kick it off tonight. There's two transfers that we've been constantly linked with over the past 6 months that have made no sense to me whatsoever. And one of those is Leroy Sané, and the other one is Calvin Phillips. Now, for different reasons, I don't think either of them are the right moves, but we are consistently being linked. Now, here's the thing. Sané is going to sign the new deal at Bayern Munich. So this is all paper talk to, I guess, put Bayern Munich on red alert, and so he can make sure he gets the contract that he and his agent feel he deserves. So I would say not to pay too much attention to that one. The Calvin Phillips one, I feel, look, I'm open to be corrected on this, but it feels like TalkSport are the ones that are constantly pushing that narrative of Calvin Phillips and Liverpool. I mean, one, he's not playing enough football because he's obviously a bench warmer at City. Two, we're going head-to-head with Manchester City for a league title. Why on earth would they want to loan a player to a direct rival? I know they sold other players before, by the way, to Arsenal, but we're a real direct rival. So they've never made sense to me, either of those two transfers. So I kind of just ignore them, to be honest with you, because I know we bring our fair share of bullshit islands to the streams, but those ones just make no sense to me for many reasons. What's this one? Cave Tribe. You didn't put a comment in, my friend, but thank you for your super chat. Heavy Metal D. So I tried the pretzel M&Ms and unfortunately not a fan. See, there's two things about that. One, I'm jealous. Very jealous because I can't get them, obviously, but your good self can. And two, how do you not like them, dude? They're gorgeous. Look, maybe it's a personal preference thing, I don't know, but I love the pretzel M&Ms. Thank God we don't want Sané. Look, Leroy Sané leaving Schalke, 100%. I'd be all over that deal. But Leroy Sané, post Manchester City, at Bayern Munich, he's in a really good vein of form. You give the man his credit. He's playing the best football of his career probably there. But it's just not a good fit for us. It's not a right fit for the profile of player we'd need to bring in if we were bringing another attacking forward. So I don't pay much attention to the Sané stuff. We need to get Barco before Manchester City do. Right, so look, I will move on to talk about Barco in a second, but I did tell you guys I had some more quotes attributed to the Diaz situation. So where is that quote gone? One sec, I need to get my notes open, and I'll get you those quotes. So where is he gone? Oh, I deleted it. There we go. So basically, Lucho's father was, yes, talking about... Now, do you know what? I need these quotes. Sorry, I'm going to have to get this quote because it's important that I read this quote out because it gives more context to the situation. So just let me go into my junk folder or my deleted folder here and I'll get it for you. Right, so... Which one is this one? Yeah, so these are the quotes that are direct quotes from Sport Witness about Lucho's father. It said, "It is true that Lewis is a loyal Barcelona fan and it would be a dream to go there. So far I'd like to thank Porto and Liverpool for the way that they've welcomed and received him. And this is the part that I didn't have the other day. Lewis is a player who finds it easy to win over people because of the way he is, because of his humility, his work, his dedication. He's a very disciplined player, thank God. There would be no problem if Lewis came to Barcelona because it is a team, a top team, and one of the best in the world." So that's kind of the full context of the quote. Look, I had my say on this the other day, and I don't want to lay into the Diaz family because of obvious reasons. And I'm aware that it's an emotive subject right now, but I feel like we covered it the other night. You know, I don't want to go back over it again and just bore you all to death with it. I think it was very silly of him to say it, but... You know, what everything he's been through, do we give him the benefit of the doubt for the comments? Yeah, absolutely, probably. But it still isn't going to help. And it's not helpful to the situation at all. But I'm going to leave it there because I don't want to take cheap shots at the Diaz family at this moment in time. God bless you, love the channel. Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate that, Grez and Adam as well. Appreciate all of you guys. The comments you guys put into the chat have been amazing lately. Big up to Adam as well, by the way. You guys joined Adam earlier on. Adam is He's new doing. Adam's now doing a Sunday show called Paper Round, where he's going to be taking you guys through all the newspaper stories each Sunday morning. And giving you his take, and I'm asking you for your opinion as well. So do check out Top of the League. Adam was on there at 11 a.m. this morning, bright and early. I was still fast asleep. And myself and Adam will be back on Top of the League tomorrow together for a 5 p.m. show. So put that into your diaries. 5 p.m. tomorrow. Myself and Adam back on Top of the League. Frankie, member for 3 months. Anfield Agenda Ultras. We love that. We love that, sir. Well played. Question, and I'm going to put it into a poll, and then we'll get into the transfer talk, I promise you. But just bear with me, because I need your feedback on something. Right. Right, so, as you know, we're always looking for ways to keep our members happy and to make sure that they're rewarded for their amazing support of the channel. Because without your memberships and stuff like that, that is a difference in the lifeblood for a channel like ours. So the question I'm going to ask for you guys is this. Would you prefer the likes of members-only videos, which are once or twice a week, which I'm going to be honest, nobody's really watched when we've made them. Or would you prefer one show a week dedicated that the comments are for members only? It'll only be one show a week. So I want your take on that. I'm going to put a poll up. I'm just trying to play around with ideas to make sure that people who are members feel like they're getting value for the time and effort that they put into supporting us. So just keep an eye on that one anyway. Right, let's get stuck into tonight's news. I'll leave that poll up in the background for a while. So, we'll start off with the scores of our players from the international break, and they've been pretty generous. Trent got an 8.2 for his performance against Malta. Lucho got a 9.2 as well for his brace in the 2-1 victory over Brazil. Alisson got a 7.4. These are all on SofaScore, by the way. Darwin with a 7.9, and he was part of Uruguay's fantastic 2-0 victory against Argentina at the Bombonera, an iconic stadium, the home of Boca Juniors. They won 2-0 there, which was an incredible result. Diogo Jota got an 8.5 from SofaScore for his performance for Portugal. Dominic Szoboszlai, well, the man's just doing bits. He scored a brace today, and he had an assist as well in Hungary's 3-1 victory earlier on. He's running in at an 8.4 on SofaScore. Virgil van Dijk with a 7.3, Cody Gakpo with a 7.3, and Mohamed Salah, I can't even give him a rating. He's just broken the whole system. They just thrown loads of footballs for goals on Mo because of obviously his 4 goals for Egypt the other day. So, yeah, there is that one. Dan, Bobby's dad is actually dead. So I did want to bring that up because I hadn't got confirmation yet, but I did see it in our Discord group. And which is incredibly sad for Bobby and his family. So, of course, our love and our best wishes are with the Firmino family. Jensk, I'm a happy member, mostly. Yeah, Jensk, but you're a good troll, Jensk. You're what I call like a friendly troll. I enjoy your banter. Hey Craig, hope you and the family are well and healthy. I know this isn't Anfield Agenda related, but Adam was brilliant signing for you on top of the league. Thank you, Kieran, and I agree. You know, Adam needed the platform to show what he can do. Adam needed the freedom to have his ideas brought to life. And that's kind of what we're trying to do. You know, Adam is very good at what he does. Adam is very knowledgeable on his football, and I thought it would be a good idea. Once Adam came to me and said, look, I like what you guys are doing on top of the league. You know, would there be a spot there? And I talked about it. Talked to Adam. Got to know him a bit. Because I'll be honest with you, I didn't know Adam until about, I don't know, what is it now? 6 weeks ago? Something like that. I'd never spoken to Adam before. So it came as a bit of a surprise to me when Adam came and said, you know, any chance of a spot there? And of course, you're always on the lookout for the brightest and the best. So yeah, it's just something I'm enjoying. I think Adam's enjoying. And we think sometimes in life's about luck, right? And I think we may have just stumbled onto something really good here with myself and Adam. The feedback's been really good. Adam's so easy to work with. It's just been really good. So thank you for that, Kieran. Appreciate you. Love the content, said Farron. Again, very kind, my friend. You know, you guys have been wonderful to me over the last few weeks. And yeah, it's really helped me, so thank you. This is a tough time of the year for me. Every time I go into November, December, my mood drops down because it's a time of a lot of passings in my family, a lot of death, a lot of bad stuff. So every December, November, I'm not great, and you guys have been really helpful, so thank you to that. I only speak for myself, of course, but the reason I support channels is that I like the content, not because of extras that I seldom watch. So that's what we found, Rabadam. That is what we found with people. Like, we were making kind of short tactical breakdown stuff, but they're only getting 40, 50 views, and it just didn't seem to make sense to me to carry on doing it. So that's why I put up the idea of, what about a once a week stream? So I know that people are going to say no, but they're going to be the ones who aren't members. So I am taking that into account with this poll as well. But it just feels like a good thing. It wouldn't be a watch along, it wouldn't be a match reaction, it would be just one show a week where we have the comments for members only on that one show. But everybody could watch. Right. So, Everton's situation could be getting even worse. So, the Mail on Sunday ran a piece that said, Everton reportedly face a further 9-point deduction if Burnley, Leicester and Leeds are successful with their £300 million compensation claim. So, yeah, the problems are mounting for Everton. The Premier League have a problem on their hands at the minute because it looks like a bit of a shit show. And the whole international break has been really... It's been chaotic, to say the least. Yeah, 300 million, that's the lawsuit that apparently could be opened up by Burnley, Leicester and Leeds, the 3 relegated clubs from last year. Because their argument is, if Everton had have been stripped of 10 points last season, that would have saved Leicester City and a few others from relegation, thus saving them a lot of money. So, again, it's opening up a can of worms. But what's really interesting about this is the simple case. This is the easy one. So imagine the complexity and the potential legal ramifications for a Chelsea or a Manchester City scenario where the fines and the points tallies are potentially far higher. It's not looking great. The Premier League's getting a bit messy and a bit grubby, and I don't mean to be an asshole, but I've been fucking banging on about this for long enough. I've been saying this for 3-4 years now, and you know, people just come in with the salty comments, but our sport's getting destroyed. It's getting ruined by the grubbiness and the greed and the shenanigans and the underhanded tactics. But most importantly, I think no matter what side of this debate you're on, I think we'll all agree it takes way too long for a resolution in any of these scenarios. So City is dragged on 4.5 years. And I read a piece the other day from very credible journalists who said you're probably looking at least 2 more years. 2 more years before Manchester City's case is resolved. Meaning 6.5 years would have passed since the opening of that investigation. That's just ridiculous. We wouldn't accept a court case taking that long in life. You know, we wouldn't accept anything else taking that long. How on earth can it take 6.5 years? Because ultimately, everybody gets desensitized over that time because it becomes the norm. City came from this cocky little upstart with lots of money from Abu Dhabi to slowly but surely continuing to collect trophies, build their profile. And if all of this is built on deceit, and we're 6.5 years down the line, that's unacceptable for everybody involved. Not Liverpool, but for everybody. And I include Manchester City in that. The whole thing is crazy that it's taken this long. City could win 2 more titles. Exactly. And maybe another Champions League. Maybe a Club World Cup. And then what happens? What happens if Manchester City got relegated? Who knows? What happens with all the trophies? What happens with all the moments taken away? I mean, I can tell you one thing. As a Liverpool fan, maybe I speak for myself here, but I don't want any of those trophies. I don't want Liverpool getting their, well, here's your league title or here's your place in the, whatever, I don't know, whatever other trophies we missed out. I don't want them. I don't want them because they're tainted, they're grubby, they're fucking useless. Because nobody got the moment. Nobody got the celebration. Nobody got the payoff. So, yeah, I'm glad I'm not the one that has to resolve this issue because it's not a great look on the league. But look, let's get on to Mr. Valentin Barco, I should say. So, those of you who are coming in tonight, some of you will know who this gentleman is. Some of you may not know who he is. He is a left back currently plying his trade for Boca Juniors. He's also represented Argentina under-20s. And like any self-respecting football fan channel, I did what you all do. I watched the highlights video. I read up as much as I could. And I tell you what, I can see why we're linked. Oh, I can see why we're linked. This dude is tailor-made for Jurgen Klopp. This young man is the perfect potential heir to Andy Robertson. I'm very, very, very excited about the possibility of this. Although at this stage, honestly, I don't know. I don't know how serious this is going to go. I can tell you Liverpool have sent scouts to watch him. I can give you some information on what he's done so far in his career. And of course, I can tell you my own take from watching a few highlights and clips. He's 19. He's not the finished product, but he's extremely lively. He has a great engine. He's very raw at the minute in that he's still trying to do that Costas type thing of intercepting and reading and trying to get ahead of the player. But you can see him in our system very quickly. If you look at the highlight reels, you could see how we could utilise him. Now, we're not the only ones interested. The ones who are linked most strongly are Juventus. And apparently from the articles I've been reading, Juventus are the ones pushing for it. So here's the initial article, and it comes in from Sport Witness via Calcio Mercato. Said Liverpool are the latest club to be linked with a move for Boca Juniors left back Valentin Barco. According to the Italian publication, Liverpool have been keeping an eye on the 19-year-old along with Juventus. It also mentions Manchester City and Brighton as potential destinations. So again, it looks like this will be one that Liverpool might have to move relatively quickly on. He is 19 years of age. He's made 19 appearances so far in the Argentinian top division this season with 3 assists and 1 goal to his name. He looks very good. That's all I can say to you is he's one of those players when I seen it and I watched the clips and I watched the highlights, instantly I knew it was a fair link because you can see it in him. He's a very Liverpool Jurgen Klopp type fullback. So keep an eye on that one. Any of you guys have any feedback on Mr. Barco, let me know. Now, there's 2 Barcos, interestingly, that play for Boca, so don't get them confused. There's Ezequiel Barco, I think, who's the other one. But the one we're talking about here is Valentin Barco. You'll know him because he's the ginger kid. Premier League will rebrand. Half the competition history is tarnished. I can't push back on that, mate. Feels tarnished. It does. But you know what I keep forgetting about? And only for I read this the other day and it made sense to me. So when the Super League stuff happened, you had lots of clubs jumping on Liverpool and, the teams that joined the Super League. But they neglected to mention one thing, a lot of these clubs, when they were throwing insults and stuff at the likes of Liverpool. And it was wrong. Don't get me wrong. None of us wanted the Super League. But they all forgot how the Premier League came to fruition in itself. It was a breakaway league. It was a breakaway in 1992. And that seemingly is forgotten by a lot of people as well when they love to throw the boot in. Paul Joyce tweet. I'm not on Twitter, so that means 0 to me, unfortunately, mate. You're going to have to let me know what it was if you'd like me to go through it. Craig, don't you think that one of our very own attackers can play in the right? Should it happen if Salah leaves? If you think about it, we're spoiled for choice. So, we do have lots of options. Doak, Cade Gordon, Cone Doherty, Soboslai, Elliott. But if Mo did leave, we're going to have to replace. We couldn't go into the season with one of the youngsters there. I think you're right, though, in that we are spoiled for luxury. We've got some great forwards at the club. Did you see the news about Sané? Yeah, it's all bullshit. It's bullshit, Jake, as far as I'm concerned, mate. It's Sané wanting a new deal at Bayern, him being linked to top clubs around Europe. His contract, I think, has 1 more season to go on after this season. He'll sign a new deal at Bayern. Haaland acting injured so we can play a game against Liverpool. Oh, it's not even funny. So Rodri suddenly has a miraculous injury. Haaland injured, of course. Ederson injured. Let me just say this. I'm fully expecting Ederson, Haaland and Rodri to all be on the pitch at Manchester next Saturday. 100%. I don't believe for 1 second that all 3 of them won't be on that pitch. I think it almost played into Pep's hands that some of these were dead rubbers. Scotland had already qualified for the Euro, so does it really matter, the Scotland-Norway game, if Haaland's there or not? No. Brazil will qualify for the World Cup. It's harder not to qualify for the World Cup in South America. And I mean that factually, by the way. 6 places qualify for the World Cup there, with 1 playoff place as well. So they'll be fine. And Rodri in Spain had already qualified. So it just feels to me like conveniently the games that had nothing on them, the players all of a sudden just felt a little twinge, Nothing that'll show up in the scan, mind you. Just a little twinge. Just enough to bluff their way out of the international game. What would you think about Camavinga at Liverpool? It would be amazing, but it ain't going to happen because Real Madrid won't be that stupid to sell him. He's brilliant though. Barco or Nuri, said Mido. Yes, look, we've been linked to both those gentlemen, as you've rightly said, mate. Weirdly, the link that we had to White Nuri from Wolves was about a potential January move, which I can't see Wolves allowing to happen. They're going to be, they're fighting for their Premier League survival. And Gary O'Neill, I think, is doing a decent job there. So I think they'll hang on to him till the end of the season. And to be fair, I never really expected a left-back to come in January because we'd have Robbo back at that point. So, yeah, I think we're looking at this summer for the left-back situation to be resolved. But if we were interested in Barco, that could be a bit different. I don't know off the top of my head when the Argentinian division comes to a conclusion. But if it's in any way sort of linked to the Brazil season, then you're talking December. So maybe the January window will be the right window to try and get Barco if Liverpool indeed do want him. That proves that Pep sees us as a threat. Well, we know Pep sees Liverpool as a threat. He's always seen us as a threat. Just watch the whole little clip from the Manchester City documentary thing where Pep was talking about Salah and Mane at that time. He knows very well Liverpool are going to be a threat. I hope City are full strength so that when we beat them, we don't hear the injuries. I don't care if they have to put 11-year-olds out on the pitch. Couldn't be arsed. If Liverpool beat them, I don't care what the fans say or anybody else says. I'll be taking those 3 points. Thank you very much. What is our most likely front three next year? You don't want me to answer that, mate. Because you know where I'm going to go with that, right? Our most likely front three next year. Darwin, Lucho, Mbappe. You wanted an answer? What do you think of Dani Olmo? Yes, good player. Keeping Carvalho away from that Leipzig team, sorry. I don't know about Dani Olmo though. I feel like he's suited to where he is. But he's a very versatile player as well. If Barco comes in, isn't that showing Andy Robertson the door? I don't think so, Kevin, because he's 19. So I would fully expect if he came in that Liverpool would utilise him the same way we're kind of utilising Costas now. League Cup games, next season, let's say, little appearances in domestic competition. I was going to say the Europa League, but we'll be in the Champions League next season. So I think it'll take time, but it would be a case of selling Costas at that point, I would say. And we had this discussion the other day. It feels like selling Costas is the right thing because I don't think any of us are convinced a prolonged period of Costas would end well for Liverpool. I know he had a good game in the last game, and fair play to the lad. He did play better, but I'm still not convinced. Were you surprised to see Cody play midfield last night against us? So, I'm just trying to think. I seen him pop up in a couple of different areas last night, Daniel. I seen him on the left at one point. I did see him dropping deeper. I tell you what I was surprised with. How poor that Dutch team were. Now, I know that they had lots of players missing, but we're crap. And we gave them somewhat of a game. So, yeah, well, that Dutch team, yeah, they're not that strong. Sell Costa's poll, somebody said, no problem. Let's get a poll on the go then. I'm going to say, should we look to upgrade Costas? Because I don't want people to think we're talking about potentially selling him without an upgrade. Now, I know he signed a new contract, by the way, before people mention that to me. But that could be to protect his value as much as anything. So, poll is up there. It said, should Liverpool look to upgrade Costas in the summer, yes or no? Gibraltar gave France a game. Oh, was it 14-0 in the end, Lukey boy? 14-0. That was a whooping. A whooping. So, on Barco, I have to say I think it would be a good, sensible bit of business from Liverpool if they could pull it off. I've not seen any mention of a fee, by the way, so I don't know what Boca Juniors might be looking for. But if you look at the players that they do sell, outside of Todd Bowley going across to River Plate and paying obscene amount. Oh no, he actually was from Boca. Obscene amounts of money for Enzo. Usually the transfers from South America are fairly reasonable. Craig, loads of people didn't even put us in the top 4 at the beginning of the season. I know. And when I start saying about us being title contenders at the start of the season, people were telling me I'm deluded, getting ahead of myself again. But honestly, you look around and is there teams that are so obviously better than us in the Premier League? No. There's teams that you would say maybe like City a little bit favourites, but nothing that I think should scare us. We should be absolutely thinking that we're in this. But it's still early doors in the season and we've a long way to go, and there'll be a lot of football to be played, a lot of twists and turns, and you know these things will come down to a few big decisions going your way, some injuries going your way, and maybe a transfer or two. Thoughts on Uruguay versus Argentina? So I watched the 10-minute highlights of that game earlier on. It was a Bielsa masterclass. It was exactly the way you would expect Bielsa to set up with that team. You know, you've seen the centre backs like Araujo or the other boys coming out and chasing those creative Argentina players back into midfield at times. You've seen the blistering pace of Darwin on the counter attack. It was a well-deserved victory from Uruguay, and Bielsa's done a great job since he's gone in there. Look, it's a good fit, isn't it? You know, Uruguayan mentality of running, chasing down, fighting for every ball with Bielsa's tactical acumen. It's a good fit. I remember when we were sweating after we got Caicedo. Oh, dude, after we lost Caicedo. Kevin, I was... If we had signed Caicedo, mate, I don't know how unbearable I would have been, because I wouldn't have even been talking to you about a title race then. I'd have been telling you flat out we're winning the league. Soboslai double goal 2 minutes late and an assist, Mr. Namaste. So yes, Dominic Soboslai scored a brace for Hungary today, but he got an assist as well. City will not get punished, said Ian Lamb. I don't know what to answer back to that, Ian, mate, because I totally understand where you're coming from. Like, I have to believe they will, Ian. You know, the purist in me, the moral arsehole in me has to believe they will. But I'm not arrogant enough to shout you down and say that I don't understand where you're coming from, because the whole thing feels like it's a bit more than just football at stake here. It feels like there is geopolitical influence on top of the football. So I understand where you're coming from, but I gotta stick with what I say, mate. I believe that they have to be. Thank you for all the work you put in. Mate, you don't need to thank me for anything. It's a pleasure. Honestly, thank you guys, as I always say, for coming in and joining me. They have to be punished, to Craig Gatland. Nice hoodie. Thank you, Jared. I don't think they'll get punishment either. And again, I totally understand where you guys are coming from on that, because in this life at the minute, it feels like there's two sets of rules. There's the rules for the ordinary working class folk who find themselves in a bit of legal bother and have to go through the system properly and take their chances. And there's the system for the wealthy and powerful where conveniently these things often seem to drag on until sentiment and emotion dies down a bit, and then we get a verdict that treats us like we're idiots and makes us feel, or they try to make us feel like we don't understand the complexities of what's going on here. It's not great. The world's a shit show at the minute, and they're getting what they deserve. The Premier League are getting what they deserve for not having any foresight to see this happening. Because people like myself and many, many other football fans and many journalists, and we screamed about this shit from day one, about letting the likes of Abu Dhabi or Saudi Arabia, or again, it feels like we're going in on these countries, right? But we've nothing against the good people of Saudi Arabia or the good people of Abu Dhabi or Qatar. But we are going in on ownership from a state-backed wealth fund for the reasons that I've been saying for 3 years. One, it's never straightforward. Two, it's grubby as fuck. And three, shenanigans. And we're starting to see that now, and people are finally starting to realise. Can I ask you a question? Honest question. Does it feel to you guys like now that Arsenal and Spurs and Newcastle are technically in a race with Manchester City, does it feel to you like the appetite to punish City has suddenly changed? Because I don't remember the same emotion from fans when it was us and Manchester City going head to head. In fact, I pretty much remember a lot of people cheering on Manchester City when it was us and City going for titles. Now it feels like when other clubs have come into it, all of a sudden the stuff we've all been shouting about for years as Liverpool fans is becoming more mainstream. And hopefully this leads to a proper investigation, because ultimately that's all I want as a football fan. But I can't lie to you. It feels like now that it's not just Liverpool, all of a sudden it's been taken a bit more seriously by the greater footballing fan base, which is in itself, it just kind of reinforces my belief that tribalism and singular mentality is what lets this shit happen, because people are so fixated with their own little bubble, their own little club. If it doesn't affect us, sure, it doesn't matter until it does. Exactly, said LFC7. BlackRock on all the sponsors of the clubs, bow to them. Do they though? Like, BlackRock being the investment firm owned by Warren Buffett, I don't know if he does own them all. Now, if you look at the amount of funds that, for instance, the Saudi PIF have invested in, there is a lot. It's difficult to differentiate. For instance, Clearlake Capital, part of the Chelsea ownership group. If I'm not mistaken, there is some Saudi money invested into Clearlake Capital somewhere. Fraudiola, not my word, said Indian Scouser. Fraudiola is a checkbook manager. Punish him too. Oh, look. I lost all respect for Pep Guardiola last season when he did that, or this season, whatever it was, when he sat in front of the cameras and said, I'm backing my club, I believe what's being said, bring on the investigation, hurry up the investigation, all this other stuff. So I think if this is found out, Guardiola has no way of saying, I didn't know, poor little me, I was duped. He doubled down. He let it be known very fucking clearly which side of this fence he was on. So yeah, if they're found guilty, I hope Guardiola's own legacy is tainted, because it should be. It's the same with the league winners. Everybody wanted City to win the league over us. They said all our fans are unbearable, yet when it's Arsenal, they're cheated. I know. It makes my point. And that's why I got so frustrated screaming about City for years when I was being called a fat baby, a man-child, an idiot, salty, and many, many other things for daring to actually look past and look for some type of explanation as to how they're getting away with it. How many clubs have been done for FFP since they brought it in? Off the top of my head, mate, I don't know the answer to that, unfortunately. I'm sure somebody in the chat will be able to tell you. Craigo, how many points do we get from the remaining games this year? So what have you got there? City away, Fulham at home, Sheffield United away, Palace away. Right, let's go through these. Mm-hmm. 17 is my guess from your list there, Dave. If Liverpool win the league, their fans will be unbearable. Yeah, we've done that one. My dad sometimes watches your streams with me. He always says the guy spits bars, rational football fan. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I get that I can be a little heated, a little emotional at times, but I always try to be honest in how I see things. I expect, people won't always agree with me. I get that, but I appreciate the feedback and tell your dad I said thank you. Pep said he would quit. Well, let's see if he's a man of his word, Andy. Let's see if he's a man of his word. The more successful a club is, the more they are hated. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess that's true. Right, I've got more news. Sorry, more stuff to go through, by the way. So, do you want another mad link? Because this one, I was thumbing and hawing about whether this one should be the title of the stream tonight or whether I should do this for a video. But Liverpool have been linked with a young attacking forward, and it's a name that you'll recognise instantly, but it's a name that, quite frankly, surprised me. So, Football Transfers have listed Liverpool as a potential suitor for Ansu Fati, obviously on loan at the minute at Brighton from Barcelona. Now, from my own research into this, when I seen the link, I started doing a bit of research, looking at other stories, looking at quotes from the player and his representative and stuff, and to the best of my knowledge, I think Ansu Fati is set on returning to Barcelona at the end of this season. Obviously, when he was given the number 10 shirt at Barca after Messi left, it didn't go to plan, and there was an article that said that the shirts just weren't selling and that Barcelona were willing to move him on. So this kind of came as a surprise to many of us when we seen Ansu Fati going to Brighton. We knew that he was available, we knew that he was being linked with moves away, but to see him go to Brighton on loan, clever for them, clever from us, clever from them, clever from Barca. And just felt like a decent loan move. But now Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester United have all been linked with a move for the player. But as I've said, from my research, it looks like he doesn't want to leave Barcelona permanently. I don't know. This is why I didn't go with that as the stream title tonight, because I didn't know how much belief to put into the Ansu Fati story. Like, one, he still has a lot to prove. He was coming back from a serious knee injury at Barcelona that curtailed him for a while. But if you look at the conveyor belt of talent that's coming through at Barcelona, 15, 16-year-old wonder kids coming through, Gavi, Pedri as well. La Masia is producing a lot of talent. So, would there be a spot for Ansu Fati to go back there? Well, Barcelona are linked to Lucho, so that's a move obviously they want to happen. They have Rafinha there at the minute and Ferran Torres, who aren't really pulling up any trees. Robert Lewandowski's at the tail end of his career. They moved Dembele on. What do you guys think? Would you think there's any truth to Ansu Fati at Liverpool? Do you think he's good enough for Liverpool? I certainly would feel concerned if he was the Mohamed Salah replacement. I don't see enough yet to justify that. He's having a really good start to his Brighton career, if you want to call it that, or his season at Brighton. And he's definitely coming into form, and He's forming some good relationships with those other Brighton players and attackers, and he's starting to look full of confidence. But I don't know. I really don't know if it'll be a good fit. And I also don't know if that knee injury is a persistent one or one that might come back and cause problems down the line for him. So, just for shits and giggles, if Liverpool were interested and if there was a deal to be had, what number would you put on Ansu Fati? What number would you think would be a fair valuation for any club? And as I mentioned, it's not just Liverpool who've been linked. Arsenal have been linked as well. And I'm sure many clubs around Europe will be taking notice. But for the player and his representatives, what I read today suggests he wants back to Barca. 4 months subscribed to the sexiest man alive? You mean you're subscribed to another channel? I want to see Gakpo in midfield. He was class against Brentford and he was creating loads for us. I like Gakpo as a link-up man. I like Gakpo far more in the hole behind the attack than in the attack. So I don't disagree. I think he can be a very good... Like, if we switched up systems a little bit and we played in a game where we had 4-2-3-1 or 4-2-1-3, I can see Gakpo being that one in the 4-2-1-3, that link man. If you've got two deep-lying holding midfielders, let's say we had Stefan Bajcetic and Andre as an example. Yeah, in some certain situations away from home in difficult games, yes, I think he's a good link-up player. I think himself and Ryan Gravenberch are probably the two best link-up players we have currently at the team. Two best players being able to get that ball and break a line from midfield. So yeah, I don't disagree. So, on the price of Ansu Fati, we have 45 million, 40 million, 50 million, 45 million, 35 million from David Newell. Engen said 45 to 50 million euro, 35 million. So, as far as I'm aware, there's no option for Brighton to sign him on a permanent. I think it is just a straightforward loan. But it looks like a master stroke from De Zerbi. I was looking at the amount of yellow cards and red cards managers have got as well, and I think De Zerbi is top of that table with something like 8 yellows and 1 red so far during his Brighton career. Do you know who didn't show up on that list, actually? Ten Hag. Didn't see a single yellow card listed to Eric Ten Hag. I think Kloppo has 2, maybe 3. In your opinion, do you think Abu Dhabi FC will be relegated? Has Everton got a points deduction? I can't say this strongly enough, Jordan. If even a fraction of those 115 charges are proven, I feel like relegation isn't enough. Find them into oblivion. Find them into administration. Find them into not existing. Because I can't say how serious this is. Like, if they've pulled the wool over everybody's eyes and stuck 2 fingers up to the rest of the league, relegation isn't going to cut it, because they will just come straight back up. And it'll just be delaying it for 1 season and then wiping off 6.5 seasons of potential cheating. So no, I don't think relegation's good enough. I think it needs to be further than that. If you're asking me to guess how I think this all plays out, I think what might happen is, because of the fight put up by Manchester City and the complexities of the case, I feel like we might get a trade-off where they admit to certain things and then the more complex things maybe get pushed to the side. So I'm trying to basically word this so that the resolution gets sped up a little bit. They admit to certain things, they deny certain things, but a plea bargain, for want of a better thing, is how my guess at how this may end up. Because it seems like a never-ending process. As I said, 4.5 years, talk of at least 2 more. How can anything take 6.5 years? Anything. You wouldn't accept it if it was a court case. You wouldn't accept it if somebody was being done for murder. not that I'm trying to equate what City are doing to murder, but we wouldn't accept it in any other walk of life. Why the fuck should we accept it in the Premier League? That's 6.5 years go by with this potential cheating, and they're continuously still allowing the club to play. Do you still have a picture of Bobby on your wall? Yeah, it's over there. It's not a picture, it's a painting of Bobby. Should Newcastle be worried? Do you know what? To be fair to Newcastle, I don't think they should have been allowed to be taken over by the PIF, but I don't see any proof of Newcastle taking the piss financially. I think what they've done is within their means. I certainly wouldn't be throwing them into the Manchester City PSG category anyway of ridiculous spending. Craig, notice how everybody calls Klopp a moaner, but when it's Arteta or Pep, the same energy isn't there from rivals. Well, look, yeah, I get it. You're right, but that's football, really, isn't it? That's the way fandom is. So, there's a quote from Paul Joyce in the transfer sector tweet that says, Everton's next set of accounts will come under fresh scrutiny after the Premier League confirmed that clubs can be punished for breaching profit and sustainability rules in consecutive seasons, and it could lead to further punishment. So, if Everton get more punishment on top of their 10-point deduction, again, they're setting a big precedent there for what they would have to do to City. Now, I've got to be honest, I don't understand all of what's going on at Chelsea. I don't. I know they're looking at some irregularities from the Abramovich era there, but I still don't understand how Bowley's able to spend £1 billion and we're told that he's not breaking profit and sustainability rules. Seems ludicrous. I also don't know where all that debt that was on Chelsea went when Bowley took over. There was a huge amount of money lost by Chelsea over those times the Abramovich was there, about 900 grand a week according to the reports I'd read. So what the hell happened to that debt? Where did that go? Because it certainly doesn't feel like they're being punished for previous debt from Roman Abramovich right now. It feels like they're still free spending, and I see them this week being linked to 2 or 3 more players. It seems like they can just do what they want. Why does everyone hate Liverpool? So, there's a multitude of reasons for that, mate. Some of them because of the anti-establishment or anti-royal family or anti-government, anti-Tory stance of the people of Liverpool. It's a city that is very much a Labour city with regards to the politics. There's the situation with Heysel that's seen English clubs banned from European competition. There's jealousy because of obviously the success of Liverpool as a football club. So take your pick. Everybody will have their own excuse. But for me, I see brothers and sisters. I see people who I absolutely, I don't want to say sympathise with because that feels condescending, but I see a brave city that sticks up for itself, that fights a hard fight, that isn't afraid to push back. And it's what drew me to the people and the city of Liverpool. I just think they're to be admired, and very similar to us Irish as well. Why are PSG not under any investigation? Well, I can't tell you the answer to that, but I could say to you, have a look at who's the chairman of the clubs in Europe now after the Juventus chairman Allegri. Well, not Allegri, sorry, he was the manager. After the Juventus chairman was booted out when PSG didn't join the Super League. Have a look at what happened next after that with El Khalifi and see where he ended up. So for me, from the outside, it feels like he got rewarded for being a good boy and not rushing to join the Super League. That's the answer I'll give you, but I guess seemingly it's to do with the usual time barred, because apparently 3 to 5 years and anything before that you can't look back at. Well, again, is the European Clubs Association, I think it is, that the PSG president, Nasser Al-Khelaifi, that's the gentleman's name, is now the president of, which is a very powerful position in European football. Do you think we'll have a parade if we sign Mbappe? Well, I'll have one on my estate here on my own, George, if it happens. You know, I don't need anybody else. I'll have my own parade out here. A naked one. If that's true, then Al-Khelaifi pulled a smart one. Oh, he did. He very much did. And I can't say that if I was in his position, I wouldn't have done similar. You know, he seen an opportunity and exploited it. And I don't mean in an underhanded way at all. But he seen an opportunity and he used it to his advantage. He had leverage. In any negotiation, if you've got leverage, you've got the power. And at that moment, when the threat of the Super League was there, and you had a club with PSG that had Mbappe, Neymar, Messi more recently, having them staying in the UEFA family of clubs, that was a big get for UEFA. So yeah, he had leverage and he played his hand well. Before we upgrade the left back, we need to look at our right back. We have looked at our right back. You know, we signed Calvin Ramsey. We've got Connor Bradley. So I think we're just not seeing them. And I understand that we're not seeing Calvin Ramsey play because he's on loan now at Preston, where he's just come back from injury. Connor Bradley, we had a good start to pre-season before he had an injury that still kept him out. So I think, you know, we do have options there. I think looking at the Barco stuff, it feels like there's an acceptance that Costas ain't it and that Andy Robertson's not going to go on forever. That's my reading of it, that they feel like we've got a few more years with Robbo, but if we can get a young, exciting left back in now, even if maybe he goes out on loan for a year, that's how I look at the situation anyway. City are given a points deduction this season as a temporary punishment. Won't happen. Not a hope of that happening, mate. There's going to be no temporary punishment. Sure, how do you give somebody a temporary punishment? Like, let's say City got punished, got points deducted, and then got found innocent. What happens then? It just won't happen. So, yeah, about 2 years by the looks of it. Sorry, I'm just checking my notes to make sure I'm not missing anything. I did mention this at the start of the stream. I'm going to mention it again just in case you guys didn't see it. But Liverpool have flown Luis Diaz's parents to the UK to spend Christmas with their son just days after he was released from his kidnapping ordeal. So, again, well done to the club. Fair play to Liverpool for that. It's class act. You speak a lot of sense. Occasionally, mate, sometimes I talk absolute poo-poo, but I can't say it often enough. I love football. Like, it means the world to me. Outside of my family, it's everything in my existence. So I hate seeing cheats and I hate seeing the game destroyed by greed. And you know that corny phrase that you've heard many times in life, and I'm paraphrasing it. All it takes for evil to succeed is for good men to do nothing. I think of that a lot, And maybe it's because I'm getting on in life, you know. Maybe it's because now I'm thinking about my own legacy and, you know, how I'm defined. Maybe it's just more important to me now. Maybe if I was 25, I wouldn't feel the same way. But it feels like a tipping moment for football because there's always been a question of the financial bubble. When will it burst? How will it burst? Is it sustainable? And this is the first time in my life watching football where I feel like it isn't sustainable because it is no longer about making things add up. It is no longer about balancing budgets. It's turning into a PR campaign for certain countries and certain rulers of countries. And that's a dangerous game because, as I said, and I've always said, no business that needs to balance its books can compete with never-ending wealth. It's impossible. It just can't be done. So until they find a way that FFP is actually enforceable, the shit show will continue. WFM Nomad. Did I miss a super chat from somebody? Somebody said there was a super chat I missed. 1 second. If I did miss it, I'm incredibly apologetic. 1 second. I think that one. Yeah, I'm not seeing one that I've missed, mate. There's none showing up for me in the back end. Somebody said I missed a 20 quid super chat. If I did, I apologise. I'm not seeing it showing up on my end, and I went back through all the super chats. Indian Scouts just said Fraudiola's a checkbook manager. We've done that one. Scrolling back. John Williams said, with the inverted system, I'd like a left centre back, not a full back. We have the ability, I guess, with young Jarrell Kwanzaa to be that left-sided centre back / left of a back three. Have you guys seen the comments from Jarrell Kwanzaa in this international break? I love it. He feels like he doesn't really deserve credit yet because he's not one of the best players in the world yet. I love that. Somebody said it was a 20 quid one from Joe. WhatsApp. Okay, 1 second. You're not seeing anything on WhatsApp. Oh, yeah. Now I've got it. Thank you. That doesn't show up on my end at the back end. That's weird. So, Joe, I do apologise, mate. Do you remember the early days of Costas? He was amazing. I've never seen a player get a song that fast. Feel he's a better player than he's showing. And the fact he gets so few games a year is a factor. I get where you're coming from, Joe. But he always makes me nervous. And I want him to succeed because he's a very likeable dude. But I just don't see it. I just don't see Costas as being good enough. I feel he's too rash. But he was better in the last game. And this is his opportunity, Joe. I feel like this is his real chance because he's not going to get many other prolonged opportunities without Robbo, having to be rotated to have a break. This feels like it's the moment for Costas to seize his opportunity. And so far, I don't feel like he's done it really. Does Joe get his money back? For what? Joe has removed his super chat. Well, that's probably why I couldn't find it then. But does he get his money back? I just read it out. So, no is the answer. But that's why I couldn't find it there. Yeah, I'm so sorry about that, Joe. But again, the comment was, do you remember the early days of Costas? He was amazing. I've never seen a player get a song that fast. He's a better player than he's showing it. The fact that he's getting so few games a year is a factor. So I apologise on the delay on that, Joe. But for me, mate, I just don't see it. I just don't see the consistency. So here's the question. We asked, should Liverpool look to upgrade Costas in the summer? And 83% so far of over 750 votes have said yes, Liverpool do need to upgrade Costas. Wasn't City found guilty 2 years ago and were kicked out of the Champions League? Yeah, it was overturned because it was time barred. So there's been a few instances where City and Chelsea have been fined by UEFA. UEFA tried to take a case against Manchester City, but they were so stupid that they didn't know their own rules. I know that sounds laughable, but it was thrown out because it was time barred. Not because Manchester City were innocent, but because UEFA's own statute of limitations meant they could only go back 3 or 5 years. I can't remember which one it was. And that's why they got let off. Now, I also believe, and I'm open to being corrected on this, that Manchester City hired the people who helped write those rules to help them with their case, which is absolutely fine. You know, they're entitled to get any representation they want. But it just baffles me how stupid UEFA are. You know, if you're supposed to be the governing body, why have a statute of limitations if you're unable to do the investigation within that time period? It feels like it's counterproductive, no? Like, if we're seeing that, let's say, the Manchester City case in the Premier League has taken 4.5 years to investigate so far, and there's still probably 2 years to go. So you're talking 6.5 years, but then UEFA have their own statute of limitations that are 3 to 5 years. That needs to be changed. If these investigations are becoming more complex over time, then how the fuck is that worth anything to anybody? They just drag it out and then, oops, too late. What do you think about Alonso? Do you think the clause in his contract is true? So, Grez, I read the quote from the Leverkusen executive, and he was very clever about what he said. So he said that the clause doesn't exist in black and white in Xabi Alonso's contract. But he went on to say that not all clauses or agreements are written down. So it feels like there's a gentleman's agreement between Xabi Alonso and Leverkusen that says if Bayern Munich, Liverpool or Real Madrid come in and he wants to go, they'll facilitate that. That's what I took from that quote from the Leverkusen executive. He also said things like, we want to make him so happy here at Leverkusen and him to be doing such a good job and feel so fulfilled here that he won't want to leave. Which of our young players do you think has the most potential? And that's from PJ. It's a difficult one to answer, PJ, because it depends on the sexiness of the position. So as an example, Jarrell Kwanzaa looks like he's about to become a top-level centre-back. But that's not as snazzy or as sexy as a Ben Doak in a wide right attacking position. Then you've got Stefan Bajcetic, who's a very good young midfielder. But I'd probably say Kwanzaa at this moment in time. You know, Cade Gordon has huge potential if he can get over these injuries. You know, he's had a really unlucky time. What position did I play? Goalkeeper, mate. I was a goalkeeper. And what club? Bellevue Shankill, Bushy Park Rangers, and St. Joseph's Boys in Sallynoggin. They were the 3 clubs I played with growing up. What links do we have to Fati? Where was this? I have it 1 second. So the link came from Football Transfers. So this is in the Echo. So again, credit to the Echo for this bit. They say, Liverpool eye Fati. Liverpool have reportedly expressed an interest in signing Barcelona winger Ansu Fati, who's currently on loan at Brighton and Hove Albion. That's according to Football Transfers, who are reporting that the Reds have joined the likes of Arsenal and Manchester United in chasing the 21-year-old. I looked into it, and while I can't say categorically yes or no to Liverpool's interest, I don't know. It looks like Ansu Fati and his camp want to go back to Barcelona when the loan spell is over. Do you really think it'll take 2 years for City to be found guilty? That was what I read this week. I'm sure I put... 1 second, I'll read you out the exact quote because I put it into my WhatsApp group, so bear with me 1 second. I'm just trying to find it here. Sorry. Is this one? No. Sorry, I'm just trying to find the exact quote I sent the lads on this one. Oh, so many things to go through. Oh yeah, okay. So it was in the Times. It was in the Times newspaper. So they said Everton's sanction was for a single breach of Premier League rules, while City have been charged with 115 alleged breaches, although City's case is not likely to be settled for at least 2 years. So that was coming from the Times. So pretty, they're not bullshit artists. Very, very good newspaper. I think the one Paul Joyce writes for, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, they say 2 years at least. And the words "at least" shouldn't be forgotten there. Did I see the words Carrigley somewhere in that chat a second ago? I play for Carrigley and we hate St. Joseph's. Oh, I remember Carrigley, right beside Bluepool, mate. They were in a different league to us when I was growing up. When I played with St. Joseph's Boys B team, we played against Carrigley on a few occasions. If I'm not mistaken, Carrigley used to wear green and white. At least when we played against them, they did. But I know all about Carrigley. My grandmother's from Blackrock, mate, so that's my neck of the woods. Well, was from Blackrock, she passed. Who's a bigger club out of United and us? United. They just are, We're the most successful club in English football, but Manchester United are the bigger club. They are the bigger cash generating club. I would say Manchester United have a bigger fan base around the world. I don't like to say that, but again, I'm trying to be honest. What's the Barco news? So Liverpool have been linked with a move for Boca Juniors 19-year-old left back Valentin Barco. Liverpool, Manchester City, Arsenal and Juventus, I think, the clubs that have been linked with him. He currently plays for the Argentinian under-20 team as well as Boca Juniors. He's made 19 appearances this season in the Argentinian Primera Division. He scored 1 goal, had 3 assists, and that's pretty much as I know about him other than watching highlight reels and stuff. But I think if you go and watch clips of him, at least I know when I watched clips of him, I immediately went, okay, I get it. Because he looks like a very Klopp-esque type of player. Who'd you rather see on a pro contract at Liverpool? Craig, would you rather earn a pro contract at Liverpool and be in the squad as a rotation player with potential to start week in and week out? I don't understand that. You didn't give me another option. Or do what I do now. Play for Liverpool, mate. I mean, come on now. Would I rather play for Liverpool or have a Liverpool fan channel? Come on, dude. Of course I'd rather play for Liverpool. What a game Luis Diaz had against Brazil. Bicycle kick for Diaz. Do you think he's underrated? Do I think he's underrated? No. I'd like to see a bit more consistency on the goal scoring side though. But no, I don't think he's underrated. Not at all. I think he's a fantastic footballer. Honestly, I don't care to be linked to anybody else at the moment except Andre. I don't have anything new on Andre that I can bring you, unfortunately, mate. Am I the only one who thinks we're going to batter City? If they have no Rodri, no Haaland, no De Bruyne, no Ederson, come on. So Rodri will play, Haaland will play, Ederson will play. De Bruyne won't play, obviously. So I fully expect all those dudes to be back by the time that game happens. So are you the only one that thinks we're going to batter them? I can't answer that, but I don't feel like we'll batter them. I think I'd still take a draw if it was on if you offered me a draw right now, I'd take it. Do you think Diaz leaves us in the summer? That's a question I was hoping I wasn't going to get asked tonight. Do I think Diaz leaves Liverpool in the summer? I think it will depend on what Barcelona do. If this is the start of a protracted charm offensive from Barcelona for Diaz, it's tough because Liverpool won't want too much change. So if we lose Salah, as an example, would they then want to lose Salah and Diaz in the same summer window? That's again a big ask of a rebuild. My gut instinct says I don't think Barcelona can get to a number that Liverpool will sell for. I don't think they have the availability of cash to make it something that Liverpool will even consider. I know they're talking about selling Rafinha and Ferran Torres, but I'd probably edge on no, he doesn't leave. That would probably be where I'd be at. But I'm more concerned about it becoming a distraction than anything else, because that Coutinho situation, negativity can seep through a football club very quickly and spread through a fan base, and I don't want it to happen. So I'd hope that it'd be a case of if he wants to go, he says it early. And if Barca have the money to make it happen, then, you'd never want to keep any player that doesn't want to be at a football club. And if Diaz and his family would like him to go to Barcelona, if Barca come in with enough money, then sell him. Like any other player. If you don't want to play for a club, you don't want to keep anybody against their will. So, sell him. But my gut instinct would say no, he doesn't go. Who would you rather leave, Diaz or Salah? So, to answer that question, I think I've got to explain to you how my mind works, because it's very easy for me to remove emotion from a decision just because of how I'm wired. So, if I owned Liverpool Football Club, I'd be selling Mohamed Salah in the summer, because I would be thinking about the future, and I would be thinking about the likes of the Mbappe availability. I'd be thinking about bringing in a load of money for a player that has more than delivered on what we paid for him, and that will probably never have this value again. So if it was me, I'd sell Mo and take the backlash, because I'd look longer term. And you'd have to remove emotion from that decision. Because if not, and if we went the other way, and Liverpool gave Mo a new deal, and Mo stayed for 2 years, you lose him most likely on a free, and you're still going to have to replace him. So it's just delaying the inevitable and removing 100 million from the scenario, in my eyes. So, yeah. I'll always edge to the older players to move on in these scenarios. For me, Diaz and the number 6 are the most upgradable places. Well, number 6, I wouldn't say upgradable, because I don't want to block the appreciation of Bajcetic, but we need a number 6, even if Bajcetic is fit and available. for rotation and competition. So, yes on that one. The Diaz position, I don't know, Look, bringing in attacking wide players is probably a lot easier than a centre-back, as an example. And it's been a weird time with Liverpool fans and Lucho, because sometimes nothing but praise, sometimes some shouts of greediness or shooting from distance or not passing it. So we as football fans, and I absolutely include myself, can be fickle in these moments. But I wouldn't be looking to sell Diaz at, 27 now? Right in his prime? No, I wouldn't be looking to sell him. Not when you've got Darwin. Imagine Darwin, Diaz, Salah. Week in, week out. With Jota, Gakpo as options. With Elliott as an option. With Doak as an option. Dave OC Cop tweet. So when you say that, what I hear is Dave O Cop has found somebody else's story and tweeted something. Unless he has an exclusive on something, I don't know. But again, I don't have Twitter. So if you're going to have to tell me the tweet. We were at the Copa Libertadores final to scout him. Well, we were at the Copa Libertadores final to scout a few people. Andre, Ezequiel Fernandez, potentially Barco, and there was a couple of other names as well mentioned. I thought Diaz was 24. No, I believe when we signed him he was 25 and now he's about 27 if I'm not mistaken. Mbappe will never play for Liverpool unless it's a charity match. Will never match his wages. So you've seen the wages, John, that he's reportedly asked for, right? And I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and say that that's after tax. So those wages are about 500 and something grand a week. So let's call it £1 million a week. So Liverpool would never pay his wages. Well, we're already paying somebody £1 million a week, mate. And you don't have to take my word for that. His representative told us that Mohamed Salah makes £1 million a week. So does that not kind of put the kibosh on your argument that Liverpool wouldn't pay his wages? And also, we've spent 6 years tracking him, talking to his family. So we're obviously interested to some extent. And if ever there was a time where Liverpool looked to bring somebody like him in, it would be when they're on a free transfer. So I'm not saying it's happening, but I'm saying it's not as far-fetched as maybe I think some people believe. Okay, where's this one? I'm getting this Dave O'Cop thing now. 1 second. Liverpool willing to pay bio clause for defender. Let me say this very clearly. And I mean this sincerely. If Liverpool buy a defender for €60 million, less than 12 months after passing on the player for €40 million, they need a slap. Whoever makes that decision needs firing. In what planet does not buying a player that you're clearly looking at for 40 million quid only to allow him to sign a new contract with a bio clause of 60 million quid, in what world is that good business sense to anybody? It would be the height of stupidity. And I refuse to believe that anybody associated with Liverpool's transfer committee is that stupid. Surely we couldn't be. I mean, think about it in any other walk of life. Fuck me. And it wasn't that we hadn't got the money last summer to buy him, because clearly we had Caicedo money, so we had money there. Why would it make sense now? I can't get my head around this. It's stupid. He's not like, why is he suddenly good enough now, but he wasn't good enough 6 months ago? when he was 50% cheaper. It's, for a club that prides itself on being clever with the money, that's the most idiotic thing I've read. If I was a CEO of a company and somebody pitched that to me, I'd be pitching their P45 into their cubby hole and telling them to get the fuck out of my business. You know, it's lunacy. Ignacio reportedly had a gentleman's agreement with Sporting. That doesn't change what this article has just said, though. The article said that Liverpool are willing to pay his release clause. So there's no Sporting or gentleman's agreement needed with anyone, because the release clause is set in stone. So we don't need Sporting Lisbon's permission to buy him. Nobody does if they pay the release clause. So I don't know. I'm calling bullshit because, as I said, I refuse to believe anybody at the club is that stupid. But we'll be a laughing stock if we buy him. And I'll be first in the queue to call us a laughing stock because it's idiotic. Imagine you were looking at buying a house. Yourself and your partner sat down, you got your mortgage, and a house was available. And you knew that if you didn't buy that house right then, and you could because you had the finance, if you didn't buy that house right then, and the owner told you that in 6 months' time that's gone up by 50% and they're not budging on it, would you go back in 6 months and buy the house for 50% more? Of course you wouldn't, because you're not an idiot. But would I take him? As a footballer, yeah, he seems alright. Look, if Jurgen Klopp wanted him, the question still remains, why didn't we get him last summer? The only way this becomes acceptable is if somehow there's a compromise reached on the amount and we don't pay 60 million euro. Because if we pay 60 million euro, again, as I've just said, that's 20 million quid. 20 million quid. Like, I know we throw these numbers around willy-nilly because it's football, but 20 million quid. 20 million. Think of 21 million quid mansions all lined up. And we could have had all them mansions, 20 McMansions, but we said no. Doesn't make any sense. I actually really like Diaz. However, if he did want to go sooner, it'd be him, then Darwin. I think we can sign a more team-friendly player. In what sense? I'd sooner it be him than Darwin. Oh yeah, that makes sense. I'd rather keep Darwin as well. Look, I wouldn't swap Darwin for anybody. I love Darwin, and I think we have a superstar on our hands with Darwin Núñez. And look, I love Diaz. Enjoy watching him play football, and I think he was a very good replacement for Sadio Mane, as like for like as we could. But I still feel like if he wants out, he's replaceable. In the next couple of transfer windows, I think we need to sign a new defender because Van Dijk's starting to get slower. Joe Gomez and Tsimikas and Matip. So, oh my God, it's 10 o'clock. I haven't even noticed how long I've been on for. Matip is out of contract at the end of the season. There's been some talk of a new deal for him, but nothing has come forward so far. Trent will be renegotiated at the end of this season because he'll have 2 years to go. Verge is starting to actually show his best form again, to be fair. And who else was on your list? Gomez, he signed a new deal as well. So he's 26? He won't be going anywhere anytime soon. Didn't that happen with Big Verge when we paid more than we should? It's a different scenario. There was no buyout clause in that deal. We had a deal agreed, kind of. About 60 million was the number that was probably going to cost Liverpool to buy Van Dijk. Then the whole Blackpool tapping up thing happened and we ended up paying 75. But it's not equatable because this is a set in stone release clause in his contract at Sporting Lisbon. Right, I am going to say goodnight, and I will see you guys tomorrow at 5 o'clock on Top of the League. Myself and Adam will be live for a show, and then I'll be back on here tomorrow night at 8:30 as well. So I will see you guys then. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Thank you for popping in to say hello. Have yourselves a wonderful day, and thank you again for giving up some of your evening. It's much appreciated. Love to all of your families. I hope you're all